Hello everyone, this is NainaMD, Beverly Hills, Fusion of Science and Beauty. Welcome to my show, and I've got an amazing guest on today. In fact, so amazing that I'm going to have him here for the entire show. He's here from San Diego, and we have a message to deliver today. He is one of the keynote authors. He's a Robin Williams of today. He has a consultant to cabinet secretaries. He is the Fortune 500 consultant. And the list goes on and on. The author of so many books, I can't even name them all. And he's just simply phenomenal. And without further introduction, I want to introduce David Corbin. David, I've known you for so long. I don't even know how to introduce you because it's like you have done so much in such a lifetime. You've accomplished so much.
You make me feel very old, Naina.
Well, you have accomplished so much. You started so early. In pursuing what I have now taken as a passion, and that is really how do we take in charge of our own health? What do we do really work from the inside out, right?
Yeah.
How do we really work through all the inside? And I think that's why you were so successful with all the Fortune 500 companies, because so much of it was, you know, they had to sort of figure it out from the inside. What was happening? What with all the relationships and relationships go further than just you and I, or just one-on-one. It goes into companies. It goes into countries.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
After all, everything is about relationship.
But the first relationship,
yes,
the first relationship must be with self, with yourself.
Absolutely.
And I must tell you, when I was consulting with, I was doing primarily, my primary business then was consulting, and I was working with some amazing people. And I come to realize that if you don't take care of yourself, how could you possibly take care of others? And when I was working with them, I was walking around as a sick time bomb. You know that I was about 40 pounds heavier than I am today.
Yes.
I was on statin drugs, and I remember you ran my blood and you looked at all of that good stuff. And but I never
and
really...
I thought at that time, just for the audience's sake, I thought at that time he was, and it's very typical for people in the healthcare industry, by the way. We give so much of our energy out that we sometimes lose that connection to ourselves. Believe it or not, it is true. We're just all the time trying to figure out other people's problems, figure out their healthcare issues, and just so much of our energy and our passion is given that we actually lose our touch with ourselves.
And we do
so,
that.
and I thought that's really what David was going through. But it's phenomenal what he's done after that. So
well, you know, it was at Shakespeare, and despite what you might think, I didn't go to high school with Shakespeare. Shakespeare said, "To thine own self be true, and it shall follow as the night the day thou canst not be false to any other." And the thing is that here I'm helping all these other people, but you can't give away what you don't have. And I'm trying to give them tools for productivity. You remember a while ago, you and I were keynoting in Florida at the Healthy Aging Conference, and that's when this book came out. The Illuminate book came out. It just hit bestseller. And everything was going real well, and the Illuminate model, for those who don't know, is, you know, we can't solve everything we face in life, but we can't solve anything unless we face it.
And this goes into something personal I experienced, because I've gone through experiences, as you in the audience have, where when you come across a situation, all we want to do is say, oh, we got to think of the positive. And that's what everyone's focused on. Every company right now is focused on, just focus on the positive. But if you've got a deep-rooted problem, and you just keep, and this is what I've done in my own personal experiences, and that's why David's book, when I went back to, and that's why he's here today, because it helped me so much. I was going through a personal time myself where I just was, okay, anything bad, I just got to be more positive, and I would just shower so much positivity, but the deep root was so negative that I couldn't get out of it. And what David is trying to say in this book, after I read this book, was illuminate the negative. You have to at times illuminate the negative to get out all the toxins out of yourself and out of your relationship. So please read this book. But it was a phenomenal book.
You know, it's so funny. They asked me on Oprah Radio, we were going through the concept of Illuminate, And they said, give us an example of, that versus the positive mental attitude.
Exactly.
Because I'm known for being a positive mental attitude guy. In fact,
Absolutely.
in the Think and Grow Rich, the latest Think and Grow Rich book, I'm in it. So I'm a positive mental attitude guy. However, nowhere does it say we should ignore negative issues. So the example I use is I said, if I said, we're on the radio then,
right.
I said, I have this little mark on my hand here. And so if I'm going to accentuate the positive,
right.
like the song says, and eliminate the negative, on this, God forbid this is a melanoma,
yeah.
I'll just put a Band-Aid over it. Yeah. Right? I'll accentuate the positive, 99% of my skin is beautiful, and I'll just eliminate the negative. And so if that were to happen, what happens when you keep problems in the dark, if you were to have kept that in the dark, those things grow like mushrooms. So we say illuminate it. Number one is face it. Remember this?
Yes.
Face it. Then follow it. And then fix it. Face it, follow it, and fix it. I was doing a speech the other day, and they wanted an example, and they said, give me a crazy example. And I mentioned this actually on my website recently too, is I was working with a pizza company, right? I won't tell you the name of it because of contracts, but it rhymes with Schmamano's Pizza, okay? And so the pizza company hired me as their chief illumination officer. Their problems was their profits were not high enough to sustain their business growth. And why was that? So they had to face it, and they did. A lot of companies, they don't face it until they're out of business. So they faced it. Then we said, let's follow it. And so we followed and said, well, why are our profits so low? It's because people only buy the pizza based upon the piece of paper that was flown into the penny saver or some coupon, 2 pieces, whatever, of this round stuff with stuff on top, right. For like $9. You can't. So if you're just going to buy the coupon stuff, they're not going to, and that's what was happening. So then we followed that into the future. So we can't sustain our business that way. And here's one thing that we found. And everyone who's listening, there's something in your life that if you face it and get to work on it, your life is going to change. So here's what we did when we followed it. We found a little fact. 73% of Americans don't know what they're going to have for dinner by 4:30 p.m.
Wow.
Okay, now here's what happens. These people thought they were in the fast food business. No. They were in the crisis intervention business. So people were calling up and saying, hello, I've got 2 kids and my neighbor's kid and my wife's coming home and I need to feed them. What do I get? And they go, hold please. And then you hear a recording, Domino's, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So when we trained them and said, no, when you face this and follow it and you're in the crisis intervention business, have your people answer as though it's crisis intervention. So they say, I got 2 kids and my neighbor's kid and my wife's coming home and what should I do? And the guys go, no problem. Sir, that's what we do. We'll just order B, which is 2 big round things of fake cheese and a big old thing of sugar water and caffeine for those little sons of guns to bounce off the wall. And the customer was, yes, I'll take it, I want it. Because we faced it, we followed it, and we fixed it, and their profits went off the roof. And we need to do that with health. So I was here in Beverly Hills a few years back, and I was doing work with a client here in Beverly Hills. And we took a picture, and I laid across the floor as a joke. They wanted me in their photo. And when I stood up, I was a little lightheaded. And I realized, oh my gosh, the great illuminator has not illuminated his health. And I had to face, I was 40 pounds overweight. I was on statin drugs, boo. I was not exercising. I was drinking the wrong water. I was doing all the wrong things. And when I followed that and I fixed it, my life has changed. I'm 63 and prescription free. I'm healthy and I've lost a lot of weight.
And you guys, again, audience, don't we always hear, oh, it's in your genes. Oh, you know what? My dad had high cholesterol. My mom had high cholesterol. My mother had diabetes. So I guess I'll just have diabetes. So-and-so had this. 85% of diabetes is diet and lifestyle management. And this is what I'm trying to accomplish in this show, is that I'm not only bringing the evidence-based, but this is like real time, real people and amazing people. And we really need to start listening. So
listen to this lady.
daily habits now.
It's people like yourself who gave me the information and then the inspiration, because you lead a healthy lifestyle. You see, if you were one of those docs...
And believe me, I'm under stress.
Oh,
big stress. And all the time.
And that's why you're reading books. It's why you're doing these sorts of things. And so it's through that inspiration, not just the words, but your actions, that eventually got through. You see, I ask audiences, how many of you smoked cigarettes, like myself, smoked cigarettes, and then found out it was bad for you, and then you quit smoking cigarettes? Hands go up. Okay, so as soon as you found out it was bad for you, you quit, right? And they went, no. And so there's a difference between being aware of it and being attentive.
So like, how do you close that gap between when you actually become aware and then when you got to be actually fixed? I mean, you know, that attentive. You got to be attentive about it and actually fix it.
That's an important gap. That's as important a gap as recovery rate when you're on a treadmill. The cardiologist is looking at your.
Yes.
So here's how you do it. So let's say you're aware of something, and you really want to be attentive to it in short order rather than long order, because some people.
Habit is not going to make we change our habits.
That's right. So here's the deal. To quote from the great philosopher Nike, just do it. So what you do is you say to yourself and you train yourself, do it now. Do it now. You develop that muscle of do it now. And what happens is when you turn your thoughts into actions, then your actions into habits. Habits then become character, and then character becomes destiny. So what happens when you become aware?
Wow.
Let's say, for example, as I did last night, we got in bed and I completely forgot to bring my mouth guards in, my sleep apnea mouth guards. And I went, I don't know, I don't want to, but I told myself, do it now. And as soon as, because I've habituated myself, as soon as I tell myself, do it now, my feet are on the ground and I'm up towards the bathroom to go pick it up. Wow. So you train yourself into the habit of do it now. Then when you become...
And the brain, remember, is a muscle.
It really does.
It's a muscle, so you train.
That's what muscle memory.
The brain is a muscle too, so you just train it.
So there's that, and so and I'm not saying it happens all the time.
But if you just keep saying, you've got to have like a phrase. It's almost like the way that you just get right. What is it that even in the military or wherever they just kind of like the minute that phrase comes, you follow action, right?
So you're actually programming your limbic system.
Your limbic and your subconscious, right?
That's it, yeah. And so you build that as a habit. And so the do it now becomes an amazing thing. And discipline, see, when people have the desire, the real desire for something.
But sometimes they don't have the discipline. How do they get the discipline?
So here's
another thing.
It's
desire to discipline.
Determination, after you make a solid decision, and then the discipline. And the
but even then, the discipline is hard. How? I've seen it.
Yes. Well, here's an answer to that. Triggers. Triggers. If you want to discipline yourself for not eating chocolate peanut butter cups, which is, I should go to a 12-step. I love that, Justin's organic stuff. Yeah. If you have it in the house and you know that it's there, that drawer is a trigger. That bowl is a trigger. Get rid of the triggers. Make it easy on yourself. Alcoholics should not be working as a bartender, for crying out loud.
Trigger.
So that's part of it. So you build the muscle, you have the awareness, you build the do-it-now muscle, and then you start building habits. And healthy habits are where it's at. And I know we're going to talk about healthy habits, about healthful habits from when you wake up in the morning until you go to sleep at night. And so that's the habit. That H word is so powerful.
What do you do? What do you do? What do you do when you wake up?
Well,
give me just a.
You really want to hear it?
Yes.
Okay, are you ready?
You get it. Yes. Okay. What do you eat? Yeah. When you get up, what do you do?
First thing I do, the very first thing I do is I have some enzymes that are next to my bed. I put there the night before. They're in an eye cup, and I have fresh water every night. So really, what I do before I wake up is as important as what I do when I wake up. So prior preparation prevents the poor performance. So I've got that little cup and I've got the water. I take my enzymes, I drink the water, I get out of bed. First thing I do is, on the floor next to me, I go into child's pose. I stretch and I give thanks. And I think of at least 10 things I'm grateful for.
There you go. That's the key. That's what I wanted really to, and I know we're going to bring you back on the to continue on after this commercial break, but this is key. I want to stop right there. It's give thanks. That's very, very key, right? Give thanks to the universe. Love yourself, right? Absolutely. So we're going to be right back. Hold that thought. DavidCorbin.com. Please look him up. I'm going to be right back with this phenomenal guest. This is NainaMD, Beverly Hills, Fusion of Science and Beauty.